Well, good morning. You are listening to National Real Estate Auction Radio. I am your host, Doug Dennison, and we are broadcasting from beautiful St. Augustine, Florida, the nation's oldest city, and we're at WFOI 1240 AM studios. Through the power of the internet, this program is being streamed worldwide on www.1240news.com. The show will also be archived on websites RALauctions.com, who is the sponsor of this show, and also YouTube.com. So we're very pleased about that. We're going to be talking about real estate auctions, past auctions, upcoming auctions, different real estate markets across the country. We have a lot of topics today. To help us out, we have several real estate and auction leaders calling in today. Let me go over our schedule and a few things about the people who will be calling in. Number one, we have Rich Swerdlow, who is the CEO of condo.com and houses.com. He's from Miami. He'll be calling in. Really an innovator and a leader in the real estate market. We also have Brian Rich, who is a bankruptcy attorney for Berger Singerman, and that's an attorney firm that has offices throughout Florida, but also he's from Tallahassee, Florida. We're going to have Stephen Papermaster, who is president of First Title and Escrow from Maryland in the Baltimore area. We also are going to hear from Jerry Day, who's the national sales manager from Rowell Auctions in Moultrie, Georgia. And we might also have a special guest, a seller that might be calling in. So lots of excitement. Let me tell you what this program is all about. It's to provide an educational experience for listeners and a promotional format for auctions across the country. And so I'm very pleased to do this. I've been in the business for 20 years in real estate auctions. Part of the great thing about being on the show is talking to friends that I've done business with before. And we do have a call, and so let's go right to them. You're on the air.
Hi, Doug, Richard Swerdlow. How are you?
Well, Rich, how are you doing, sir?
Pretty good.
Well, good.
Am I on time for our call-in interview?
You are on time, and again, this is Rich Swerdlow, who is the founder and CEO of condo.com and houses.com. Tell the public what again, how did you get into this real estate business, and a little bit about your past, Rich?
Thank you. Well, good morning to your audience out there. I appreciate the opportunity to be on the show with you. We, about 5 years ago, my background, I'm a lawyer by trade, got into the internet business many years ago, and had a successful internet company which we sold to Federated Department Stores that traded in wireless telephone products on the internet. And then I got into the family development business. We were building lots of multifamily condominium projects in 2005, and it seemed at that time that there was going to be a global oversupply of condos based upon all the advertising and the pre-construction, almost like a game that was going on with investors who were putting up the money to buy units, and then the developer was getting construction loans. And it seemed in 2005 that there was going to be a crash or an oversupply. And at that time, I said, you know what, in order to create some liquidity, there needs to be a marketplace. And the marketplace should create liquidity for buyers and sellers. And that's what we did. We went about going out and building what's now become the largest marketplace for condos in the world. We've got close to 4 million properties globally on the site, and we connect buyers and sellers and renters, and now increasingly auctioneers that are representing sellers and financial institutions to promote their listings either online or offline.
Tell me again how many hits you have in a month.
Sure. So we don't measure things by hits.
Okay.
We measure them in terms of unique visitors.
Oh, okay.
People use the term hits, but what we're really interested in and the way we monetize and make money is by how many unique visitors show up to the site. So last month we had approximately 1.5 million unique visitors to condo.com.
Wow.
We just launched houses, and it's going to take us a little bit of time to grow the traffic to houses. But on condos, we had about 1.5 million, and each one of those visitors generates a certain number of page view impressions. So on total, we served around 50 million page view impressions, and those are the metrics that we use.
Wow.
Page impressions and unique visitors.
Okay. Well, besides the fact that, I'm a real estate auction guy, we have listeners that are real estate brokers. We have sellers that listen. We have auction firms that are listening. Tell us, how do we advertise with you, and how do you kind of create a unique area? In other words, if I'm a seller or a broker or an auctioneer in Des Moines, Iowa, and I've got something going, how do you kind of create a program for me?
Sure. So it's very simple. We've really made the site and what we do performance-based so that it's very easy to test. There's no upfront, long-term commitments with us. Right on the home page of condo.com, at the top of the page, there's a link that says advertisers or advertise.
Mm-hmm.
When you click there, you'll see very easily 4 or 5 different groups of potential advertisers. One is an auctioneer, the other is a real estate broker, the other is a real estate developer or a property manager. And we have either programs that can be bought online. We have a self-publishing product where a person can put their credit card in and they can upload unlimited listings. Or there's an email form and someone on our team will get back to them. Now, the way the viewers find that inventory is very simple. On the home page, we have a giant box that says auctions. Any of the auction inventory that we display can be found there. And we also have a filter on our search results. So, we make it very easy. The way we work typically is either per lead or per click. In certain instances, because we're licensed as a real estate broker nationwide, we work on a performance basis where we get paid a commission upon a closed sale. So we actually put some skin in the game, and we provide the impressions, and we get paid when we deliver results, whether it's a click, a lead, or a sale.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, for instance, and I've talked to you several times, and you're a friend, and appreciate your coming on the show. But for an auctioneer, let's say I've got 50 condominiums, and we'll say it's going to be in Boston, Massachusetts, and we sell 40 of them that day, and 10 of them didn't hit the price point that the seller wanted to hit. And, we've got our own follow-up staff, and, that's important. But you also talked to me about another service so that actually I could give those extra 10 listings kind of for you for a couple of weeks and try to have you do your magic, and then we would kind of split as far as a fee. Is that correct in summary?
Yeah. So, we like to provide post-auction services. We recognize that a lot of inventory, not a lot, but a portion of the inventory won't necessarily move on auction day.
Mm-hmm.
So we will take inventory and, again, either on a per-click, a per-lead, or a per-sale basis, provide the post-auction marketing services so that an auctioneer has a solution and they don't have to go back to the financial institution or their seller and say, okay, we sold 70%, here, take your 30% back and have at it.
Okay. Very, very interesting. Well, the fact that you, we'll talk about houses.com in just a minute, but the fact that you do condo.com and again, you work internet magic so that when you're typing in something about condos and buying condos and selling condos, and you're just a guy from Texas that wants to know something about the Maryland area, your firm comes up quickly on the webpage. How do you do that? How's that work?
So it's all about the way people search for real estate these days.
Mm-hmm.
According to the National Association of Realtors, 90% or more start their search online.
Mm-hmm.
So when people go to Google, the key is to be in the top search result place. So if people type in Maryland condos, condos for auction, bulk condos, condos in a particular zip code, we're typically number one or number two on thousands of searches.
Wow.
And, Google and the other major search engines, Yahoo and Bing, their whole objective is to provide the most relevant search results to their users. So our site, because we have so much inventory and because we have the category domain name, for example, condo.com or houses.com, Google views our site as a reputable and relevant source of those searches, and that's how the traffic, comes to us. And that's why we show up when people are searching for that inventory.
Very, very good. The fact that you are the condo guy, you also are based in Miami, and certainly Miami has had its history of available condos and condo booms. Give us a little bit about the past few years and what's happening.
Sure. So, the market obviously was very overbuilt. Miami was really the poster child for this condo phenomenon, and a lot of it was fueled from investors who wanted to get money out of South America. There was, particularly out of Venezuela and Colombia. So you'd have these giant investor groups that would come and buy, 50, 100 units pre-construction. The developer would get a construction loan, and then those developers, those investors would try to, flip out of units, and a lot of times they weren't successful, and it created this problem. We're seeing, thankfully, at the height of the problem, sort of 2006, 2007, there were 70,000 units available in the South Florida market. That number has been compressed, and we're seeing, because prices have been dropped and financial institutions are willing to take a haircut on a lot of deals, we're seeing lots of velocity. Month over month, when you compare February 10 to February 09, home sales in South Florida are up over 40%. So
wow.
We're starting to see, the prices are so low, we're starting to see movement. Something that is really interesting for you and your listeners is that in Miami-Dade and Broward counties, more than half the recent sales are either short sales or bank-owned. So, even though the number of transactions are going up, it's happening with depressed prices and with either troubled loans or things that the banks have already taken back. They're REO'd. But I think we got to work through that problem, and as the absorption takes place, as less units are available, then we'll start to see new construction start up again.
Very, very good. Tell us about houses.com.
So we got our business model at condo.com profitable about a year ago, and we looked at the market for condos, and on a nationwide basis, condos account for about 10% of the overall sales.
Mm-hmm.
And we looked at our team, we looked at our skill set and the ability to drive traffic to a category domain and our nationwide licensing, and it made a lot of sense for us to have a single-family presence, which could really leverage our team and our infrastructure. And we went out, and it took us about a year and a half to negotiate the acquisition, but we acquired the domain. It was not an operating business. It was just a domainer that was sitting on the domain for the past 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
But we acquired the domain in December. We launched the site actually on January 11th, and the site's been up for about 90 days now, and we're out running as fast as we can to grow traffic and to generate leads across that product type. Again, condos are 10%, houses are 90% of the housing market, so it's just a matter of us reproducing, our business model.
Well, you are a very interesting guy, really a leader in this area. And how do people get a hold of you? How do people advertise with you? Give us some contact information.
I appreciate that, Doug. And, you and I have worked together for the past couple of years, and I really enjoy the opportunity now to work with you in your new shop. And think what you're doing on the radio show is great. The best way to get a hold of me is at my email address, and I answer every email. I'm simply Rich, R-I-C-H, at condo.com. That's the best way that anyone can find me.
Very, very good.
Rich.com. And, if anyone has, interest in advertising or talking about a strategic partnership, happy to find a win-win. That's what we're all about, is delivering results for our partners.
Rich, you're the man in Miami and basically almost the world for condos, and now you're going into houses.com. Congratulations. Thanks for being on the show.
Have a great weekend. Thanks, Doug.
You bet. You're on the air.
Hey, Doug. This is Brian Rich.
Hey, Brian. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Well, wonderful, and thanks for calling in. And this is Brian Rich from Berger Singerman. He's a shareholder. His office is up in Tallahassee, Florida. He is a bankruptcy attorney, although he does many, many things. Tell us about how you got into the business and where you went to law school and all that kind of good stuff.
Sure. I'm originally from Philadelphia, and I ended up in Florida when I attended law school at the University of Miami, and decided anywhere where I could wake up and see palm trees, it was a good place to stay. And after law school, I got started doing bankruptcy work and really enjoyed the practice, the nature of the bankruptcy practice, and the speed at which it moved, and the type of deals that we were involved in, and it's just taken off from there.
Well, you and I have worked together before, and it's been a privilege. One of the things that we did, we had a bankruptcy auction for 2 hotels in West Palm Beach, and I want to kind of talk about that because, you always think that an auction's going to go exactly the way you planned, but in this particular instance, we sold before the auction. So give us a little bit about that, because that was a great success for you and for us and Berger Singerman.
Sure. That case was not unique, but it did have some unique factors. And the reason that it ended up in bankruptcy was not really because of financial distress, but more because of a partnership dispute amongst the owners of the hotel property. And ultimately, we were able to utilize the bankruptcy process to bring the partners to agreement and move forward with an auction or a proposed auction sale of the hotels. And as a result, in large part of your efforts, we were able to achieve buyers that allowed us to pay all creditors in full and even get some money back to equity. And that was pretty exciting.
Very exciting. And I'm trying to remember the exact thing. Were the 2 partners, were they allowed to bid?
They were allowed to bid, but ultimately they did not.
They did not. Okay, so that's interesting. But that's kind of a scenario when they're having problems where partners, whether there's 2 or there's 400 of them, can use the auction system to kind of mend the ways and to find out who really wants the property and everything. Tell us about what you do in Tallahassee. How long have you been there? What street are you on? All that kind of good stuff.
Sure. Moved to Tallahassee about 5 years ago, primarily for family reasons and looking to expand our firm's presence in the Panhandle region and the northern part of the state. We have 6 lawyers here in our Tallahassee office, and it's growing, and we're able to service clients really from Pensacola to Jacksonville and down to Gainesville. And my timing for me was good, bad for others, in that when I moved up here, it was when the real estate market really started to hit the downward spiral. And we have done a lot of work in representing real estate developers and builders and hotel owners as well, who have suffered with the real estate decline and the declining market, and many of them have been out of court restructurings, but we have gone into bankruptcy court, and we've been able to grow the practice substantially, helping people work through this financial crisis.
Well, that's excellent. I think I sent you an email that I was in Miami yesterday, and of course we broadcast from St. Augustine, Florida, so it's about 5 hours away. But I get down to Miami every 2 or 3 weeks, and I was able to be in your offices, your old offices, and sat down with Jordy Gusso, which of course is a friend of yours and highly respected in the bankruptcy arena. And he just says you're doing great up in Tallahassee.
Well, I appreciate that. Jordy is a wonderful colleague and a great friend. And Berger Singerman, we think we can provide great value to folks who have not only bankruptcy or workout issues, but commercial litigation and administrative law, environmental law. All of those issues can be serviced by our office up in Tallahassee.
Well, very, very good. I asked you to send in a little bio, and we put that on the website and also send it to you and use it as your bio on our YouTube and our Raw Auction website. It says a little bit about you've done claims reconciliation process and claims ranging from $100 million to over $1.5 billion. I mean, that's an amazing number. What kind of case would that be where those numbers are so high?
Well, we, as a firm, Berger Singerman, we are typically on the debtor side of cases,
okay.
Debtor or creditors committee side of cases, in the mid to large size case for the Florida market. We do handle cases nationally, but we have had several cases that I've had the privilege of working on that had in excess of $1 billion in claims. One that comes to mind is the CHS Electronics case, which was a distributor based in South Florida with international operations, ended up in Chapter 11, and in working through the claims reconciliation process so that we could ultimately make a distribution to creditors, I and the folks at Berger Singerman work to understand what the claims that have been filed are, work through them, and object if appropriate, but deal with legitimate claims so that we can get that claims pool set and ultimately recover money and make a distribution.
Well, I also see something in your bio about Ponzi schemes, and that certainly is relevant in this time and age, unfortunately, but sometimes you try to work out for recovery for the victims. Can you tell us about that? Sure.
South Florida being the hotbed for fraud sometimes, we have had the opportunity to represent receivers and bankruptcy trustees in cases that started out as frauds, be it a real estate or a financial fraud. And our goal is to sort of peel away the onion skin, work with forensic accountants to determine what happened, where the money went, and then ultimately try and recover money. And I've got a really quick but wonderful story about a case. It's actually the longest case that I still have in my office. It dates back to 1997, and it was a stock Ponzi scheme and pump and dump scam. And we hung in there, and we ultimately were able to achieve a recovery from a criminal restitution case in excess of $6 million. And
Wow.
It was our persistence and diligence that was able to bring that recovery in. And ultimately, creditors got a significant distribution, albeit it took a while, but through our efforts and efforts of others, we were able to hang in there, find that recovery, locate it, and make a distribution.
Well, that's excellent. We've got about 20 seconds before a break. Brian, you are wonderful. How do people get a hold of you?
Best way to reach me is they can call me. My direct dial is 850-521-6725, or email at brich@bergersingerman.com.
Beautiful. Hey, Brian, thank you so much. Look forward to working with you, and when I get over to Tallahassee, I look forward to seeing you.
Same here. Thanks for the time, and always.
It's time to visit the St. Johns County Flea Market. Great deals every weekend. Every weekend there's great bargains, great food at the St. Johns County Flea Market. Get off I-95 at State Road 207. I-95 at 207. You want to be a vendor? Booth rentals start at only $10 a day. Churches and charities, you can get a free booth 2 days a month. And for everybody else, there's great deals at the St. Johns County Flea Market. 824-4210, stjohnsfleamarket.com.
If you're looking for the taste of delicious Chinese food and sushi with hundreds of choices every day, all at an affordable price, just think A1. A1 Buffet, St. Augustine's newest dining experience. A1 Buffet, a Chinese buffet with sushi bar. All-you-can-eat buffet restaurant, affordable lunch and dinner with the highest quality ingredients. At the southwest corner of I-95 and State Road 16 by Taco Bell and across from the Outlet Mall. Open 7 days a week, on holidays too. A1 Buffet. Call them at 808-8698.
Licensed by the state as a skilled nursing facility and certified for a broad range of payer types, the Ponce Therapy Care Center's team of professionals is committed to providing the best nursing care and rehabilitation services. Choosing a skilled nursing facility for a loved one is always a difficult decision. At the Ponce Therapy Care Center, our admissions and social service staff assist you in making an informed, caring decision. We provide information about our facility, determine your payment options, and strategize about your loved one's regimen of care, length of stay, and expected discharge to home. At the Ponce Therapy Care Center, we are proud that over 90% of those admitted to our rehabilitation program successfully return to home. In an industry that is often seen as the final alternative, our goal is to become your first option and facility of choice for skilled nursing and rehab services. The Ponce Therapy Care Center is located at 1999 Old Moultrie Road. Call us at 824-3311 or visit us online at poncecarecenter.com.
6,000 trade guaranteed towards new Sedona Sorrento. Must qualify for auto loyalty or competitive bonus and military discount with approved credit.
It's spring cleaning time, and Family Kia's here to help. We don't care if it's got a broken motor and an awful odor. This week at Family Kia in St. Augustine, your trade is worth at least $6,000. Guaranteed.
Due to unprecedented customer demand,
Family Kia needs your trade. So right now at Family Kia, get a minimum $6,000 trade-in value for any trade with any mileage and any condition towards a brand new Kia. Guaranteed. Find spring cleaning savings on every new Kia, all with 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranties. And remember, we don't care if it sputters and spits and looks like push, pull, or drag it in. Your trade is worth at least $6,000 guaranteed. This week at Family Kia, 2665 US 1 South in St. Augustine.
online at familykia.com.
Kia, the power to surprise.
Okay, we are back, and you're listening to the National Real Estate Auction Radio Show. We are broadcasting from beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. This is a show about real estate auctions. Our listeners are sellers, buyers, auctioneers, real estate brokers, and we've had two great guests, Rich Swerdlow, who was the CEO of Houses.com and Condo.com, and then Brian Rich just got off the line. He's a bankruptcy attorney, and we've got somebody else on the line. You're on the air. Hello? Hello, you're on the air.
Good morning, Doug. This is Adam Bourne.
Hey, Adam. How are you doing, sir?
Doing fantastic. Thank you very well. How are you?
Well, good. Jerry Day from my office called and said that you might be on the show and calling in. Tell us who you are and where you're from and a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Adam Bourne. I'm located in Fannin County, Georgia. I'm Vice President of Special Assets with United Community Bank.
Very, very nice. Have you always been from Georgia, or are you from another area?
Yes, sir. Born in Atlanta. I've lived in Fannin County, which is extreme northern Georgia, since 1980.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Our bank, United Community Bank, is located there in Union County, Georgia. That's Blairsville.
And tell us a little bit about the bank. Is it in one particular area, or is it? Do you have multiple areas where? Tell us a little bit about the bank and who you.
Thank you for asking. We actually have over 100 locations.
Wow.
We are in North Georgia, Eastern Tennessee, North Carolina, as well as coastal Georgia down in the Brunswick area.
Mm-hmm. excellent. You are actually at the Rowell Auctions office and talking to the VIPs in that office today. I believe you've got some kind of an auction coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
We do. I'm down here with the guys at Rowell Auction today discussing some details in our auction. United Community has identified several properties throughout the mountainous region that we're in that we plan to auction off in the upcoming weeks. It's going to be pretty exciting. We've got lots and land. This auction will vary. We have everything ranging from small half-acre lots and private secluded residential subdivisions to 152 acres.
Wow.
Even got a house or two in there. Several smaller tracts, 3 acres, 5 acres, some 15-acre tracts. Most of these land tracts that we have for sale, or most of the properties that we have for sale, are scattered throughout northern Georgia and western North Carolina.
Well, how many properties in all will there be up for auction?
We are working on that right now. We have approximately 350 properties.
Wow.
That will be auctioned. It's going to be a pretty big deal. It's pretty exciting, and we looking to sell them all. Most of them will be sold absolute. Very few have a reserve on them, so it's going to be a pretty exciting time.
Oh, absolutely, and absolute auctions for our listeners and some of our public listeners means that it is going to sell no matter what. So you've got to be involved. There is no tomorrow, and that's a wonderful way to sell because you get every last person that is even remotely interested in your property. Given notice that this is going to sell on that day. Do you know a date when it's going to start?
The auction will start April the 11th. The properties will be available online. You can see them on Rowell Auctions website as well as United Community Bank's property website also.
Okay, and that's Rowell Auctions. That's ROWELL Auctions, AUCTIONS.com. And so what they do is they advertise each of the properties. They give you, as a buyer, a date when you're going to actually bid, a timeline, and it's a wonderful thing. They've been extremely successful with other banks throughout the country, and so I know they will do a wonderful job for you. Tell us for a minute, Adam, what does a special assets person do in a bank for people that are from the public and want to know?
We basically manage the foreclosure properties that the bank owns. Once they've been foreclosed on, we manage these properties and ultimately sell them. So that's my job here, and that's what we're doing down here with the guys at Rowell today, is working on the final details for the auction and identifying these particular properties that we're going to sell for the bank.
Well, Adam, I want to thank you for calling in, and it sounds like it's a very exciting auction, 350 properties. Folks, you want to go on RowellAuctions.com to find about the descriptions of the properties, where they're located, the timing of when you can bid, the forms and documents. Again, very exciting, RowellAuctions.com. And Adam, thank you so much for calling in, and they will do a fine job for you, of course.
I know they will. We've used these guys before. They do a fantastic job. I'm looking forward to it and very excited. I hope we have a good turnout.
All right, Adam, you take care and have a good weekend.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. Bye-bye now. All right, you were just listening to Adam Bourne, who's the Vice President of Special Assets from a bank up in Georgia, and they're selling 350 properties through the internet, through the auction system, and if you want to know about that, you've got to go on the website, which is www.rowellauctions.com, or you can call Rowell Auctions at 800-323-8388. That's 800-323-8388. 8388. Exciting stuff, 350 properties. Well, you know that if you're a buyer, you know there's going to be properties that are going to sell high and some low, and I'm sure there's some bargains in there. So you want to get involved early. 350 properties. This can be for end users. It can be for investors. It can actually be for real estate brokers in that area, and you know from other parts of the country. They know the value of the property, and if they want to get into the buying process, they can. Again, it's RowellAuctions.com, or you can call them at 800-323-8388. Again, an auction of 350 properties. Let's go to a new caller. You're on the air. Okay, we lost him. I talked too much. He was on the line there for a second, and I didn't get a chance to pick him up real quick. Again, this is the National Real Estate Auction Radio Show. Like our show, have a question about auctions that you want the show to address, want to be an advertiser on the show, let me know by emailing me at doug@RowellAuctions.com. That's doug@RowellAuctions.com. We've had an exciting time. We've had great guests, and we've got other people that will be calling in. First of all, we had, this morning, we had Rich Swerdlow, who's the CEO of Condo.com and Houses.com. He's from Miami. And a few other guests. Let's see if we can get this caller. You're on the air.
This is Steve Papermaster.
Steve, how are you doing, sir?
Doug, good morning. How are you?
Well, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for calling. Steve is part of the real estate business that is kind of in the background, but it's probably the most important part. Steve, tell us what you do.
Sure. Thanks, Doug. Our company's First Title and Escrow. We have a nationwide title and closing services company. Work nationwide with banks, auction companies, asset management companies, to do a number of things. The end result of what we do is make sure the buyer ends up with clean title, that all the judgments, liens, any issues that could come associated with some municipalities are taken care of so the buyer can get clean title on property and get an owner's title insurance policy.
Why is that important to a buyer?
Well, you know, in these days, when you're buying a property from anybody, whether you're buying it from your friend next door or someone you don't know, there's any issue that former buyer or former owners had will go with the property. It could be their mortgage. It could have been unpaid. Mm-hmm. It could have been a lien that was against them that was unpaid, and that will follow with the property. So unless those items are resolved during your purchase transaction, during the time that we are doing our work, then you're going to have a property that's not what you think it is.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of liens are possibilities? And again, you're talking to real estate people who know a lot of this stuff, and some who don't. You're also talking to sellers of property and auction firms, but you're also talking to the public. Tell us what kind of liens might be on there that would affect a title.
Probably one of the most common, especially down in the Florida area, is going to be condominium liens.
Uh-huh.
Where you have, former owners of properties couldn't pay their payments on their condominium association, so the association itself went and could have filed a lawsuit against the homeowner, yes.
Go ahead.
So, Doug, and that lien will then become on the property.
Okay. And so how do you get rid of that, or how do you help make that be a clean title issue for the new buyer?
Well, a couple things. What would happen is we would need to make sure in a lot of cases, if it's a foreclosure, for example, if it's a foreclosure example, there are certain liens that will get wiped out from a foreclosure sale, and there's certain liens that aren't going to get wiped out from a foreclosure sale. It depends on the state. So in that case, either way, either the lien gets eliminated by operation of law, or the seller of the property will have to make sure that they pay that lien off prior to title being transferred. So we want to make sure that we do a proper search and all the due diligence that our company is required to do to make sure that's done so that new buyer doesn't have issues like that coming up on their property.
Got it. And tell us about your company. How long has it been in business? I know you've got Pam Gibbons there, who is one of the hard workers in the business and represents you very well. How many people do you have, and how many files do you go through during a month?
Well, to give you a little bit of background, first title started in 1997, so we're going on to our 15th year. And about 4 years ago, we started another company just focused on REO and servicing asset management companies, working with both Fannie Mae directly and Freddie Mac.
Mm-hmm.
And through our work with them, we started another company called Streamline Title and Escrow. And through both those companies, we have about 60 employees managing thousands of files a month throughout the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, as well as multi-state, doing business all around the country, working with asset managers as well as the mentioned Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Well, it's you and I have talked about this before, but in the past downturn, for instance, let's say a bank failed. Well, all those properties that the bank had that were foreclosed properties and REO in their system, they'd probably be within a 100-mile area of the bank itself. And today, you could have a bank that's in Massachusetts, but they have properties in their till that are in 40 different states for a variety of reasons. And so you do have to reach out, and if that's your client, you're working with other title companies and other professionals. And is that kind of the way it goes?
That's the value that we bring to a company in that situation. It could be a bank, just like you spoke about, Doug, where they would come to a company like ours, first off, and tell us a couple things. Listen, we don't know what we have here. We have a lot of assets with potentially a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing we're going to do is we're going to search all those properties. We will use our abstract and title vendors and all those various places around the country to work with us. We centralize all the information with our technology that we've built to deliver back fast and accurate information to those companies, because they are moving quickly to try to figure out how they're going to dispose this property, because after we go and do our work on it to get the title search completed, they want to go out and get that property listed and get it sold. So we assist also not only in that title search service, but we assist in coordinating the sale of that property all the way through, whether it's us assisting in an auction capacity where we're coordinating the multiple contracts that are going to be required to be signed at that auction, or helping answer any kind of questions buyers have with respect to those properties. So we have built a network of attorneys and searchers to help us on a multi-state basis, but give that owner of that asset a single point of contact, so they don't have to worry about who they're going to speak to in these 40, 45 different states that they may have assets in.
Well, Steve, you've always been on the cutting edge of this business, and I know you work with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and banks and brokers and asset managers throughout the country. You're from Rockville. That's in the Baltimore area. Is that correct?
Yeah. That we're in the middle between Washington, D.C. and Baltimore.
Okay. Very, very good. Well, tell us how people can reach you, because I will tell you from experience, especially selling large amounts of property. We've done 500 properties at a time, more than 1,000 properties at a time. If you don't have a good title company, guess what? All your hard work is for naught. And so you guys are the people who do this and do it well. How do people get a hold of you?
Thank you. They can reach out to us on the web at www.firsttitleservices.com. It's all spelled out. Or they can get us toll-free 866-484-8537. And that's from me, Steve Papermaster.
Well, very good. Steve, thank you so much. And again, I appreciate our friendship through the years. And again, you're a leader in this this part of the business, which is the title business, the closing business, and every auctioneer and every real estate broker and buyers and sellers, they know that if the paperwork isn't done, there is no sale. And so thank you so much, Steve, and you have a great weekend. Give my best to Pam for me.
Will do, Doug. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Thanks
bet.
for having me.
You bet. Bye-bye now. Okay, that was Steve Papermaster, and we've got another call. You're on the air.
Good morning, Doug.
Hey, Jerry Day from Rowell Auctions. Well, how are you doing, sir? You're the National Sales Manager for Rowell Auctions. Tell us a little bit about Rowell Auctions and what you do for them.
Sure. Doug, one of the things that I do for them is work with you, and I'm pleased to be on your show today. What we do primarily is economic forecasting and placement of Rowell Auctions in marketplaces where we can do the sellers the most good.
Mm-hmm.
We do economic research, that sort of thing, to try and give our sellers a better quality of information before, during, and after the auction event.
All right. And that's important. Tell us why that's important for a seller.
Well, in today's world, there's a justification to shareholders for everything that we do.
Mm-hmm.
So the ability to forecast accurate information for a seller so that they can take these results in advance of an event to their board and get approval is critical.
Very, very important. And in these times, throughout the country, there's some markets that are going up, there's some markets that are going down. The appraisal business is basically on past information, and that's what bankers rely on, and you kind of give a better spectrum not only of past sales but where the trend is. Is that correct?
Yes. A predictive analysis is what we're talking about, the ability to take all the data in the marketplace without any restrictions as to usage and forecast the potential results of an event. In defense of appraisers, and I am one, until here recently, the Appraisal Foundation mandated that most of the information, matter of fact, all of the information, had to be based on recorded sales figures. And the problem with that is that oftentimes you have a market that is declining and is stagnant, and there's no new recorded sales figures. So under the proper discipline of underwriting and appraisal, the appraiser had their hands tied. So what we had to do was to go in and actually be able to establish a value anywhere in the United States, in any subdivision, in any neighborhood, in any zip code. And that's what we managed to do.
Well, that's excellent. Tell us about the MarkNet Alliance, because you've been involved with this particular group, and it's tell us who it is and how they provide services to you.
The MarkNet Alliance is a consortium of 42 auction companies around the United States that have banded together to afford their sellers the best coverage in just about every market in the United States. All the members of the MarkNet Alliance are first-class auction companies. It's basically they had to be voted in. They have to request and then be voted in. And there's not just anybody that can get into this.
Right.
The skill set of the MarkNet auctioneers runs the gauntlet of people that are experienced in land and ranch to people like your earlier visitor who are condo-oriented. So we have a level of expertise that we can draw on that we can handle just about any kind of real estate situation that comes up.
Well, it's a good group. I was able to go up and attend their conference in Memphis 3 or 4 weeks ago, and like you say, they are top-notch people. Tell us about kind of the new thing of internet bidding. Why is it important? Why is it good?
I think it was Sam Walton that said the person that delivers goods to the marketplace most efficiently will control the marketplace. What we're talking about is market efficiencies. Now, the way things are right now with older buyers, say in the 55 to 65 group.
Now, wait a minute, that's me. Now, come on now.
It's okay, Doug. We're talking right now, and your show is being broadcast on the internet and will be posted on YouTube, so you're not exactly behind the times.
Okay, I feel better now. All right.
All right. So what we have then is this incredible marketing information, this machine that is informing the public about the asset that's available and allowing them to bid from any location, whether or not it may be in their car, wherever. We have I think it was an instance here it was about a $3 million home, and the property was bought by a lady attending a reception 3 states away, bidding on her BlackBerry.
Really?
That's how things have changed. And so what you have to do is you have to give the public the ability to attend the auction on their own terms. That's why it's so important.
Well, I agree with you, and our earlier guest, Rich Swerdlow, was talking about a number from the National Association of Realtors where I'm not sure what the number was. 95% of everybody starts their property search on the internet. So it certainly has changed from the beginning. It's kind of an amazing thing.
It really has, and the other thing that has happened with the internet it's given the buyers a way to research significantly more, perhaps, than in the past, what these marketplaces are doing around the country and whether they may or may not want to buy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the amount of data that's out there right now is absolutely phenomenal that somebody can access on a free of charge basis and see exactly where they are in their community.
Well, we heard about an upcoming auction from Adam Bourne, who's Vice President of Special Assets from an area bank. 350 properties. How do you sell those?
Well, they're sold all online, and that particular auction, I think there are going to be a couple of site sales in coordination with that, where we're going to be online on site.
Mm-hmm.
The idea behind that being that there are bidders who are just comfortable attending an auction. In a lot of communities, an auction is a community affair. It's a place to see your neighbors and say hello and all that sort of thing. And in this particular sale, we have a combination of the presence at a bid center and also the online simultaneous.
And tell us about if I'm a internet bidder, how do I find out about the property? How do I find out about the documents? What do I do?
Sure. Well, go to RowellAuctions.com, www.rowell, auctions.com, and you'll see our listings there. And those listings, as you scroll through, will have attachments of all the data that we have that's pertinent to that particular asset. Also, there's generally a contact person who's listed who is either a representative of the institution that we're selling for or a local broker.
Mm-hmm.
That you can give a call and ask to see the asset or meet you at the property or whatever.
Jerry, that is excellent information. Again, RowellAuctions.com. You're talking to Jerry Day, who is the National Sales Manager. Tell us the 800 number quickly for Rowell Auctions.
It's 800-323-8388.
Jerry, thank you so much for being on the show. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Doug.